Hello everybody, Zoltan Videos here, and welcome back to my podcast thing. So, as you've probably recognized, over the last few episodes I've been really changing the format of my vlog slash podcast thing. So, if you've watched my previous episodes, then you'll know that I started out as a face cam on my phone, and then to a Minecraft booth thing. I'm not really sure what that was, but I thought it was a good idea. And now, as you can obviously see, I've got my logo here. And so this time I'm going to be preparing for more of a podcast and less of a vlog or face cam, which I guess a face cam can still be a vlog. I just thought this was a more appropriate thing for a podcast. So I believe that I'm going to be renaming this once again to the Monocle Morning because if you know my Minecraft world, my character skin face thing has a monocle on it. So that's why I believe I'm going to be calling this the Monocle Podcast, Monocle Morning, because I want this to be a morning thing. I'm not really sure why, to be perfectly honest. I just want to do this in the mornings. I honestly have no idea why. It's just an idea that came to me, and I thought it would be cool. So yeah. Um. So um. Over in a direction you can't see. Obviously, you can only see my logo. I have a cool and awesome website called Mental Floss. MentalFloss.com. It is a place where you can look at a bunch of random but awesome, interesting facts that you may never even care about, but you may care about at the same time. And it's a really cool place. You can look at a bunch of different things and just things from all over the place. You have no idea what you're gonna find there. And so I've been looking here, and I've found two kind of interesting articles that I thought were pretty cool. So I'm deciding to share them with you for lack of anything else to do, to be honest. But so yeah, I've got a few little cool articles from Mental Floss. I'll put Mental Floss in the description. It's a really cool place. You should check it out. But first, I've got one that I personally found quite interesting. It's 17 signs that you'd qualify as a witch in 1962, which I thought was absurd because, witches, fantastical creatures making things, but it is a part of our history that we had people accused of witchcraft and people hung and people drowned and all sorts of things for saying that they're for people believing that they're a witch, and it was a time of a time of uncertainty. I don't know how you pronounce that perfectly, but uncertainty, whatever. But yeah, whatever. But this was a really cool idea, I thought. So I decided to look through it, and these are really cool things that you may or may not expect. They all pretty much go with the stereotypical witch of the past, and yeah. So also these were guidelines. So there were signs, but they weren't exactly permanent requirements. So it's cool to think of, like, if you had these things today, which today a lot of these things are very common, so it's not really you think that they'd be something that you deal with, but back then it was like witchcraft. You cannot do that. That's absurd. And so, which is one of the reasons that I found this very interesting. So first of all, rule number one to being a witch is you're a woman, which, it makes sense. It's a witch. Usually you think of a wizard or a warlock as a male and a witch as a female. And so you think that, but there was actually 5 men in Salem that were convicted of witchcraft, and 13 women convicted. And it's kind of strange because, witch is a girl, and that's which is female. That's just kind of like the stereotypical witch. But there are actually some men that were accused of witchcraft, which kind of interested me. And of course, you've got the people wanting to accuse as many witches as possible, really. So if you were a wit poor woman and you could not support your family, then you are probably a witch. But if you are too rich or financially independent, you are also a witch, which is kind of strict. Like, you've got to have the perfect medium, or no way, you're dead, goner, see you later, bye. So I thought that was kind of cool because it's just there's a very fine line of not being a witch with all of these rules. And one of them is that you have one or more female friends, which, of course, it kind of makes sense because you think in a stereotypical witch situation, if you've got more than one female, then they're all going to be practicing witchcraft together with their evil laughs and whatever. But yeah, so that kind of makes sense to me. And then you've had an argument with one or more of your female friends. That kind of surprised me because you'd think that that would be a sign of not being a witch, because if you were a witch, then you'd want to commune with the other witches and work on the same basis as them. But I guess that's just me. And having an argument or disagreement with anybody is apparently a sign of witchcraft. I'm not sure how that could work out because, everybody argues. It's just a fact of life. It happens. But I guess so. And if you're. This is another fine line. You can't be very old and you can't be young. So I'm not really sure how that works. How can you expect a young person to be a witch? I mean, old person's stereotypical stereotype. Stereotypes witchcraft again. It's just, it's an old lady practicing her witchcraft. And that's reasonable. But very young is it's kind of strange. It's like, "Oh, you were just born and you're a girl. You must be a witch." It's weird, but I don't know. That's I don't know. They must have had some reason, but I can't think of anything. Um, if you're a midwife, then that's a problem. If you're a midwife, then you die by hanging. But I guess that makes sense, stereotypical. But also, if you are married with too many children, or you're married with too few or no children, then you are also a witch, which is still confusing, but I don't, whatever, I guess. But it's apparently too many or too few is a sign of witchcraft, and Satan curses you with a good or bad amount of children, I guess. If you have a mole or birthmark, then you're a witch, apparently. That surprised me. It's kind of weird because, everybody has a birthmark. It's just what you're born with. It's not really that big of a deal, but apparently it was. This is ridiculous. Butter or milk has spoiled in your fridge. That's stupid. I mean, that is seriously stupid. I mean, come on. How can you be proved as a witch for having spoiled butter or milk? That's just what happens. But I guess they thought that was a sign of a devil. Um, if you have broken virtually any rule in the Bible and thus entered into a pact with the devil. I guess that makes sense. That's just kind of, what that life was like. You couldn't do anything against the Bible or you're dead. That's just how it was back then. But this is including but not limited to no leading no leading people to other gods by prophecy or dreams, no planting more than one type of seed in a field, no touching of a pig's carcass. Th- yeah, I'll go with that. No wearing clothing made of more than one kind of cloth or fabric, which I guess goes to the stereotype of witches with all the mis unmatched clothing and unmatched fabrics. No round haircuts or braided hair. Not to be unreligious, but I have never seen that against the Bible. But I don't know. I guess I may be wrong with that. But and definitely no suffering in which to live. And that makes sense, if you're trying to protect a witch, you're obviously a witch. Which I don't know. It it works, I guess. And then if you did any of those things, then you'd be guilty of witchcraft. You'll be conceiving with the devil, you'll be hanged, burned, or left to rot. It's crazy. And it's seriously weird thinking of that and looking at what our society is like today. And looking at the timer, there's not really much time left for the next one, but the next article I found. But it's still crazy, like looking at this. And if you want to check out Mental Floss, then it's a cool place, and you can read this for yourself. There's a few I didn't read just because they're eh, but but it's a weird. It was a weird society back then. Just thinking of all of the witchcraft and wizardry that people could do and getting hanged for it. It's just crazy. And like there's such a fine line. You can't be too old, you can't be too young, you can't be rich, you can't be poor, you can't have many children, you can't have no children. It's crazy. Insane. It's really weird, and it's so crazy. And then there's butter or milk has spoiled in your fridge. It's insane. And it even has a little note here saying several testimonials during the Salem trials mention spoiled dairy products in connection with the accused. Be honest about the condition of your fridge before you continue. You've got to be kidding me. I mean, how is dairy connection of the accused? I mean, it's so weird. But it's just how life was back then. And I'm sure you understand this, and I'm delving into this way deeper than you need me to delve into, but it's seriously, it's just bacteria, whatever. We learn about that all the time now. It's just something we don't even worry about. It's just, oh, there's our milk and butter is spoiled. We better just throw it away and do other and buy some new one. But back then it was like a crime of witchcraft for having spoiled milk. I mean, we all have spoiled milk at some time in our lives. I mean, it's just a natural thing. We all forget to drink milk, or we don't drink it enough fast enough, and it's just gone. It's spoiled. That's just what happens. But here it's insane. It's crazy. It's just stupid, honestly. So, yeah, that's my interesting, strange fact for the day. I've just little thing I looked up to entertain you. But yeah, it's a crazy thing. And it's weird thinking that there were actually times when this happened is people being accused of witchcraft. It's insane. So, yeah, that's my little spiel today. So, once again, I'm going to be changing the name of my podcast thingamadoohickey to the Monocle Morning, I believe, I assume, I think, I dream, I don't know. But yeah, Monocle Morning. And so I'm going to be posting this as many mornings as I can. I doubt I'll get it every morning or even like twice a week. But yeah, so yeah, see you later. Like, subscribe, dislike, comment. See you next Monocle morning. Zoltan Videos signing